Hello and welcome to This Car Pod.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Nick.
I'm Doug, and we start this week with some sad news. Kennan, did you hear?
I did. I heard that Jeremey Clarkson has been diagnosed with an aggressive but caught early form of prostate cancer, which is really scary and sad. He's 66, so it's. I'm very glad they caught it at least, but it really makes things very real. And it's incredibly sad news, and it's devastating.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Who knows what'll come of it? I bet he knows more than he's saying. Obviously, he's known for a little while, but it's hard to know exactly how it's going to shake down. He's obviously an idol of anybody in our generation who's into cars, and it's just a reminder that life can be fleeting,
right, and fragile. But yeah, it's. I don't want to say that's all doom and gloom just yet. He's still around, but to your point, Nick, of course, does not know who Jeremey Clarkson is because he never watched Top Gear. So for Nick, you can just take a nap here. But he really, he really was the bombastic voice of entertainment in the automotive industry, and what they created. He and Andy Willman and obviously Richard and James, I can't believe you haven't gone back and watched more of it, because it is truly not only for cars. It is such an entertaining show, and it's. I hope maybe this will be the trigger. Yeah, it changed all of our lives, truly.
Nothing in history will ever have changed my life more. I mean, it's in terms of content. Anyway, he's not dead. We're not eulogizing him, but it's obviously a big deal. It's sad news in the car community. We just found out about it yesterday. He kind of publicly announced it, sort of. In a bit of a very Clarkson way, not with some big splashy announcement, but we wish him the best, and we hope to hear more. And Nick, maybe this can be your sign to go and watch a little Top Gear.
I have gone back and watched some since coming out a year or two ago that I did not grow up watching it. I would say that my father is not only an oncologist but also has prostate cancer as well. Get your PSA levels checked starting at age 40. It happens younger and younger, and the earlier you catch it, the better. So in a serious note, it is not preventable, but the earlier you detect it, the better. And I do hope sincerely that they caught it early enough that it is treatable through radiation and so on. My dad's case was caught early enough that they basically, he's now in remission, and it's just totally livable. So a lot of times it is not as serious. The fact that they said it was aggressive does scare me a bit, but I sincerely hope he's going to be okay.
Yep. For sure. That's good advice. We wish him the best. We hope for a good outcome. Bit of a somber start to the pod, but there is our next story, a more positive note for we have here, some sort of BMW. Well, I don't know what this is.
It is only uphill from here. This is the new BMW New Class concept.
Neue Klasse.
Please, the German in the group, go ahead.
It's the Neue Klasse. Yeah, you have to
Neue Klasse. Yes.
Okay. What is going on with this? It's electric. It looks like an E30 M3 a little bit.
Exactly. It is a new design study for the upcoming BMW. New revised front fascia. They actually teased this a couple months ago, which we did cover, but now it is official. BMW is putting this out there and indicating this will be the next. They also indicated the next M3 will not be a hybrid. So good news, BMW fans, you can rejoice and or let out a sigh of relief that BMW is not going to screw things up again.
It's nice.
But so explain this to me. This was specifically an M concept car. They had teased the regular Neue Klasse version as a concept car a few months ago, or maybe a year, and this is an M version, which is cool. They're saying the next M won't be electric. So, is the plan to split it? Have they announced anything? Is that what we're thinking?
My understanding was that they planned to split it, that there would be electric and gasoline versions. And my understanding also is this is kind of hinting is what the next M3 is going to look like, which if that is the case, boy, I like it. I really like the design elements of this. I think that this is a lot more the kind of car BMW should be making. I love that the big grills are different. This is much more palatable than the G80 M3. But
looks good.
I think it looks really good. And this is honestly the first time in a while that I felt like a BMW concept comes out and I'm like, you know what? I'm into this. I'm here for it. These little,
but the new 5 Series looks good.
The new 5 is fine. I don't, I'm not fawning over it. I think it's okay. It's better than a lot of other cars they've rolled out with. I know you vehemently disagree, but it's fine. It's a car. It looks fine. I'm cool with it. But this is exciting, and I think if this is what the next M3 looks like, I think a lot of people are going to be actually very into it.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah, and I think this will be very good for
Yeah,
BMW.
but this is an electric car. So it seems to me that if they're saying the next M3 won't be a hybrid, there's also an implication that there's going to be a gas version and an electric version, maybe.
I think that's probably what's going to happen. And right now, it is kind of hearsay. We'll see what the future actually holds for it. But
it is interesting. Them confirming that it won't be a hybrid. I wonder if that's a direct response to the pushback on the curb weight of the M5. There was such an enormous pushback because they had made it a gas car and have an electric powertrain. And there's real advantages to that, Well, you can still have an engine with a noise, where at the same time you get extra power from electric. And basically everybody has gone down that road. And Ferrari with the SF90 and the Temerario and all these cars. But the drawback is all of those cars are porky.
Exactly.
They are big cars, and I wonder if BMW is they don't want to go down that road.
Well, the M3 should not be porky. An M5 can kind of get away with it because it's more built for highway, like cruising and like going fast in a straight line. Yeah. More of a kind of an American approach to speed. But the M3 has always been about balance and precision and handling, and so like weight just is the antithesis of all of those things. But nonetheless, like as a design brief.
If this is what an electric M3 looks like, I'm here for it. And I'm curious to see what the numbers are like.
And from the official website and a statement from their head of design for the BMW compact class, Neue class and BMW M division, this is a new design language for BMW M automobiles. So it is not meant to be just this vehicle. I think this design language is meant to be spread out across the M line in the future, which maybe they'll start with the XM. That would be a good one to redesign.
No, just kill
potentially.
Fire. Just kill it.
For sure. The next big news story this week was new pickup trucks from General Motors. To me, this is basically a redesign, totally new look, totally new interior, new powertrains.
Bigger V8s.
This is bigger V8s, which is pretty crazy. 5.7 and 6.6 liter V8s. The 2.7 turbo four-cylinder is still sort of the base engine. This is exciting. Nick, are you excited as a truck man?
I love the competition between the big three. I don't count Toyota in that, but it's exciting to see
because Toyota wins.
Some of us like American trucks. I think it looks great. Again, I'm a Ford guy, but I can get behind the Chevy. The looks are almost universally across the interwebs regarded as, wow, that is like the freshest, nicest facelift / redesign on the market. It's such a competitive market that it takes a lot to really stay top of mind and to attract buyers. Like a lot of the truck buyers are going to buy a pickup. And so the only really way to expand your market share is to steal away from Dodge or Ford. So I think Chevy redesigning, making it fresh, making it exciting will get a couple Ford or Dodge buyers to look their way and consider it because it's all new and it's exciting. So I think it could be a good move for them at a good time. And again, keeping the V8s and everything people like.
Keeping the V8s is definitely an interesting thing. I'm curious, where in the development cycle that decision was made, as Ford has heavily started to rely on 6-cylinder powertrains. This is an attractive truck. It was attractive before, relatively attractive. It's attractive still. They're really pushing. They sent me the press release last week, and they're really pushing the off-road versions, the Trail Boss, which I think is sort of a middling off-roader, if we're honest, but also the ZR2, which is a pretty more substantial off-roader, almost becoming in the vein of kind of the Raptor, and I'm interested to see how that actually feels and how it actually succeeds. Obviously, there's new luxury. All the trims are new. There's a big new screen in the center. They were heavily pushing also the High Country, which is the luxury version. It has this and that and all these luxury features. The thing that also interests me about this update is that it probably will also affect the Suburban and the Tahoe. Which were fairly recently updated themselves, but it'll be interesting to see if those vehicles get new powertrains, et cetera. You assume they have to. They all kind of share the same architecture and that kind of thing.
The other thing, to your point, is it's not quite the Raptor edition, but if you think about it, the Raptor R is what you have to buy if you want a V8 in the Raptor. you're spending well over $100,000, and it's still only 5.2 liters. So Chevy can now say, hey, dude, you can get a 6.6 liter V8 without spending $100,000 and have the majority of the off-road components you want. It's starting to get pretty compelling, especially for those that don't have $100,000 to spend on a off-roader. And frankly, being around those Raptors and Raptor Rs, they're still not that fast. So you're kind of doing it for the sound, the big burly V8. Like, maybe this is actually a decent option for some of those folks.
Yeah, if
They're
there
not
are
gonna
people
do it.
who really, really just damn want a V8, for sure.
You do
I'm
the Raptor
curious
R for the flex, not for the actual capabilities most of the time. But this is like a more rational choice for the majority of the people who end up buying Raptor and Raptor Rs.
I am curious to see exactly which powertrains will be in which vehicles, but even the top level, they haven't announced horsepower yet. So, you know, it'll be kind of interesting to see. But if you can get a ZR2 with that new 6.6 liter V8, the old 6.2, which was the top engine before, it was putting out, I think, something like 420 horsepower. So you got to assume the new one's going to be at least 450, maybe even more, given the it's just physically larger, and that's what Raptor makes. So you're kind of in competition there.
It's getting interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And people have sort of gone away from the Ram RHO. I'm not even still sure if they still make it. That's a 6-cylinder as well.
They did kill that off, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The other announcement is the base Silverado work truck gets the Duramax diesel. So they're expanding the work truck range too. So pretty cool from like basically the entry level all the way to the top dog. I would like to see a ZR2 Max or ZR2 Plus or what have you that just takes it up just a little bit more. But I think this is enough for now.
Here's what you do, Nick. I'm going to tell you what you do. You get the ZR2. It's an off-road pickup. You get the ZR1, and it's a Corvette, right? You put the ZR1 engine in the ZR2 pickup, and you call it the ZR3.
I like it.
This is something that you guys can consider.
Why stop there though? Like the Countach, what make it the 3000?
ZR 3000.
Doesn't that sound better?
Yeah.
I'd pay extra for that.
Yeah, I think it does.
That feels like a very 1970s
It does, but
thing to do.
would you be at all shocked if they went that route?
Honestly, no. It wouldn't be.
Regardless, remains a competitive truck, very competitive segment. They have to do a lot to stay competitive, and it looks like they are. Curious to review these vehicles when they will come out. Looks like they'll go on sale at the end of the year, so they're not that far away. They're probably going into production here in the next 90 days or something. So I'll be excited to see it.
Also, quick fact check. I'm not sure who said it, but the RHO is continuing. So scratch that
Nick,
from the record.
I am sure who said it.
A lot of people are saying it, but it's not true.
The RHO is such a great truck. And
I agree.
I'm so disappointed perpetually that people don't like it. You know, Ram's problem with that truck will always have been that they started with the TRX and then went backwards, whereas Ford started with the Raptor and then went upwards to the Raptor R. And so they got a lot of credibility, whereas going backwards for the RHO, even though it's got way more power than a Raptor, people are still like, it's not a TRX.
And the ZR2 has the same issue. It's basically an RHO competitor of sorts, but everyone just wants the volume dial up to 11. Like they want the flex.
They do, although when you look at actual consumers, the regular Raptor radically outsells the Raptor R.
Right.
Radically. I mean, the Raptor R is incredibly expensive. But the RHO never really did sell in particularly strong numbers relative to how the TRX used to. I've only seen a couple of them on the road. They are just not that common. I am excited for the ZR3, which I'm predicting right here on this podcast Chevy will do.
Call it the 3000. Come on.
Add it to your calendar.
All right, so as I've talked about on the podcast a bunch of times, about a year ago, my wife's stepfather passed away after a long battle with cancer, and we inherited this 1973 Ford F-250. We've done a few things to get it up and running and to get it finally out here to California. But now it's time to get it fully sorted out. To get this truck in the condition that it deserves to be in, we're gonna hit up AutoZone for their quality parts that fit and function like original equipment. Thankfully, AutoZone has a wide assortment of parts, everything from control arms to fuel pumps and everything in between. And we can go in-store today to get them and really keep this build moving. So let's look around, see what we might need, go to AutoZone and get this started. It's an old truck that sat for years and years and years, and it was gonna need more things. It's gonna need some things to keep it reliable and to just get it back to the condition it deserves to be in. For example, most of the bulbs no longer work. Probably a good idea to have those. If we're out and about, I want to make sure that the truck starts, and so a new battery is a no-brainer. We'll also want to get new fluids all around. None of it's that old, a lot of it got swapped out, but the truck didn't run for years, and it seems worth doing just for peace of mind. There's also a bunch of other things that I expect that I will need to get this project in a state that I'm happy with. I'll probably want new shocks. Definitely need an oil change. It wouldn't be shocked for a new alternator. I also just realized I don't think that this tailgate opens right now. I've made a list. It's quite a long one. Luckily, I am confident that the folks at AutoZone can help me get what I need. So stay tuned to this car pod to see what we start with as we tackle this project with the help from our friends at AutoZone. Now, back to the studio.
Yep. Next news story, please. What else we get going on?
Yes, Porsche.
I'm
More
with Porsche.
German car news. It's a Porsche podcast. So recently, an executive in an interview with Automotive und Sport said that Porsche will not produce an electric version of the 911. Now, I want to be clear. It was, well, I guess clear in the lack of clarity that it wasn't, it's not saying, it's not clear if the car will never have an electric version or if it's just for the foreseeable future will not have an electric version. But obviously, since we've talked a lot about electric Porsche since, it was announced that the Cayman and the Boxer were going to be electric. There's been a lot of pushback on the market. They even considered killing the project altogether. But they went out of their way to say that at least it seems like the next generation 911 there will not be a fully electric version of it. Hybrids,
now, keep
probably,
in mind,
but
Porsche has announced a lot of things and then walked them back over the years. Remember the electric Boxster? We're still waiting for that.
I know.
Interestingly, it has just come out. I'm reading a message that I'm just getting. This just in. That Porsche is adding simulated shifting to the Taycan for a Taycan facelift, which, by the way, is another thing they said they wouldn't do. Remember when Porsche was like, we're all for all-out performance, and that's just a silly gimmick? Well, guess what? Now they're doing that. I obviously, in today's market, they will not be making an electric 911. That is very clear to everybody. There was not really any serious consideration that they might. It's nice to hear it confirmed. However, you have to assume that someday there will be an electric 911. It just won't be the 994.
Right. Because we have to skip over the 993. Can't be the 993, with a dot and the naming.
It will be that. It will be the 994.
Yep. So which I guess makes me happy. I think that it's kind of. I know they realized it's just not the right move right now. I think it's inevitable at some point it will go that way. It's just like not yet. So we have gasoline engines for a little while longer.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Well, hybrids. I mean, that's what
anyway.
they've got now in these cars. They're all hybrids. That GTS.
I'm fine with it. That's tolerable.
Yeah, it's what we have to have. They're going to get us to electric 911s, but they're doing it very slowly so that we can really get used to the concept of it first.
Yes, like a tectonic plate. They're just grinding away just a little bit at a time. Slowly the change will happen.
You do got to ease people into the idea.
Of course you do.
Yep.
Sports cars are all
Well,
about
then that
emotion.
was the thing. That was the theory with the Mission E. I mean, this whole thing was going to go like this. In their minds, it was going to go like this. They released the Mission E, which probably was supposed to come out last year, and you have the top of the market is electric, right? And so then people are like, oh, if the supercar is electric, then I can have an electric car in my normal car. And then it makes it feel cool. I mean, the 918 did that 10 years ago. Oh, the supercar is hybrid. Well, then I don't feel so bad about having a hybrid Cayenne or a hybrid Panamera or whatever. Unfortunately, things changed. The world changed. The Mission E was canceled. The Boxster Electric was canceled. This Onslaught didn't really work. And so now they're kind of back to the drawing board without a lot of funds to do it. Nick understands. Nick's been there,
I'm out of funds. Out of funds to have fun.
Next news story, please.
Yes, it's the Lamborghini John Temerario. So recently, obviously, the coupe is now being delivered to the United States. Yep. I still don't think I've ever seen a customer car, even in Southern California. I still haven't seen one. But even so, they are currently testing the Spyder on the Nürburgring. There've been lots of spy shots of it coming out. I understand. My thing with this is it's like, well, kind of whoop-de-doo. We knew a Spyder was going to come at some point. It appears that it's going to be a hardtop convertible, which is kind of interesting. But my thing with this is I kind of would have liked if they were released at the same time. It would have been nice. I understand they want to, it's exciting enough. We still don't have them here. It would have been, I don't need like more excitement. We're excited enough about the car. Like we saw it 2 years ago at Quail.
Yeah.
And like we've been like, bring the thing already.
Yeah, you'd be surprised though. You'd be surprised how many people will buy both. If they come out at the same time, they won't. But you'd be surprised how many people will buy a coupe and then because they want one of the first, and then a year later the Spyder comes out and they're at the dealer and they're like, oh, I can still trade in and not lose money and I can get a Spyder, like I'm going to do it. You'd be
Especially
surprised.
if it is a hard top, because then you could kind of make the argument in your head of, oh, I have the best of both worlds. Like I can have the hard top when I need it.
Nick, do you remember when the Gallardo Spyder came out in that sky blue color?
Yeah. Blue Cephas, I believe.
That was
the baby
so
blue.
cool.
Yep. It's funny, the Gallardo Spyders, like maybe it's just the particular execution of the Gallardo, but like it's never really been as beloved. Like that car, the coupes are way more desirable. Like a lot of cars, the Spyder / drop top commands a significant premium. It seems
Not in that world. Typically, cars of that ilk, the convertible is less desirable. Ask Kennan about the 355, but also the 360, the 430, the 458,
Sure.
all those cars. Like only the limited ones is the Spyder.
But I do think a hard
actually
top. Well, part of the problem with the Spyder was it just never looked as good with the roof down. Like the car looked better as a fixed roof hard
One
top.
of the things I
But
think
this
the
could fix that.
automakers. One of the things I think the automakers have figured out is to make this convertibles look a little less open.
Yeah.
Like the Gallardo had this roof that just sort of stopped and it looked weird. And the Huracan Spyder and the later Ferrari convertibles, they looked like they had more sort of car around the roof.
Yep.
And it like made them look less weird with the roof down.
Gallardo
for sure.
Spyder looks a lot like my Range Rover convertible. Like it just looks kind of done as an afterthought rather than done with intention.
And it didn't look that great with the roof up either. The roof did like more of an arc than it probably should have. It wasn't the most attractive car, but it was a way to enjoy a V10 with the roof off.
Yeah.
And as someone who enjoys a V10 with the roof off, I got to tell you,
Right, of
pretty
course,
nice.
that roof hasn't been off in a long time because we discovered with the roof on, it's actually better. But yeah,
Not to get in and out.
but it's about the driving experience. Once you're in, then you're in. Once you're out, then you're out. But I am curious about this because the Huracan Spyder, one of its big problems was that the roof robbed a significant amount of legroom, even for people who normally fit in sports cars and are smaller. Like it was a lot. So I am kind of curious ergonomically how this feels.
It is a bigger car, so in theory they should have more space to hide stuff and fit it in. But yeah, it's a good point.
In theory, so yeah, but we'll certainly see it. But nonetheless, it's exciting when a new Lamborghini comes along.
And I can't wait, because this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? We're going to get like the STO version, the STS. Like, there's going to be so many cool special editions. This is the obvious ones, but just think of do we get another lifted one, a rally version? Do we get a Stradman? Thank you. Do we get the STO version with with not the clamshell, but what's the front clip thing called?
Oh yeah, the little
Had a
carbon
weird
part
word.
that peels off the front of the car.
Yeah, we're gonna get all sorts of cool stuff. So I can't wait. Let's get the Spyder out of the way and then keep going.
I would just like to see a coupe. I still haven't.
I've seen one
Really just driving
at
around.
Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, okay.
It's not the most engaging car. I was so disappointed with that car. I still think about how disappointed I was. It's just still too big and too heavy, and it's not what I want.
Yeah. Well, luckily the Huracan exists in aplenty. They're out there with that great NAV10. So
On a scale of 1 to 10, how rich guy go fast is it in your book, Doug?
Oh, 10.
Oh, I
think
think there's worse, but I mean, I guess I felt that way about the Huracan, and now I look back at the Huracan and I'm like, man, that V10 sounds good, and they're coming down in value. Like, it's lowered on that rich guy go fast scale to like.
But Lambo's
Yeah,
have always
Huracan,
been
I
for
never
flexing.
felt that way as much about Huracan. I don't know why. I guess McLaren kind of held that title for a long time, but man, rich guy go fast, A rich guy go
I
fast.
still think McLaren holds the title
Yeah, it does.
personally.
They're
I think
worse
they're
than
10.
those
This is a 9.897 or something.
I give it like a
all
7.
these cars are just not generally purchased by enthusiasts. They're purchased by people who want to go fast and
You know
are
what?
rich,
Yes.
and who don't have an enormous amount of
You say that,
real-
but I really think about this. Like, the Michael Jordan's 550 Maranello, I think, is for sale right now. And, like, he bought that because that was the fastest, the highest end thing at the time. He didn't keep it, to be clear. Like, we look back and think, oh, my God, the cars he had, the Turbo S. And all this. It's like, well, no, that was just the fastest, most expensive car at the time. And, like, that's kind of like all of the cars that we love have all been rich guy go fast cars. Like the Carrera GT when it came out was a rich guy go fast car too, and people bought that who weren't into cars as much. I think with a manual maybe is a little bit different, but like they become appreciated by enthusiasts later on. I'm not saying that necessarily would be the case with this. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But when it's new, it's like of course it's a rich guy go fast car. You have to be rich to go fast in those cars.
I think there are cars that are not rich guy go fast, and I think there are even new ones, and I think there are cars that are rich guy go fast, and I think that the automatic hybrids that tout only their horsepower and acceleration figures are rich guy go fast, and I think that when the car is more challenging, it's a different situation.
Well, yes, part of the challenge in my view comes from I would rather have an older car of the same dollar figure and take on that challenge, but that's purely in retrospect. It's not apples to apples on new cars.
I'll give you an example. The T50, that's not a rich guy go fast. That is a car for enthusiasts. And that is known from day one. I think that's true of Carrera GT, and I think that's true of a lot of other cars.
Got another one for you. Rimac Nevera. Where was that? 1 to 10.
That wasn't even, talk about a level of unsophistication in order to buy that car. Like it's going to be cool. People tell me it's going to be cool. Like you just have to have absolutely no market awareness at all in order to buy a Rimac Nevera and then like talk it up. And there are some people out there who did that. All right, time for our next news story, please.
Audi. This must
Audi.
be Nick.
Yes, there is a new A6 Allroad. It is not coming as the base wagon, but we do continue to get an A6 wagon in the form of the Allroad. It is 4 inches wider. It's a little lifted. So basically like your Mercedes, like we are only getting the off-road variant. It does not have the 2.7 liter twin turbo, but there should be either a 3 liter turbo diesel V6 in Europe, and then America is more likely to get the 2 liter inline 4.
What is your 2.7 liter twin turbo comment? Are you making a joke about the original Allroad?
The original, man. The Allroad belongs with the 2.7 liter twin turbo.
Are you aware that the current A6 is sold as an Allroad? Like
I am, but
so even that doesn't offer
the
the
Allroad
2.7.
belongs as an unreliable twin turbo V6.
I do have to say, first off, I think that updated A6, new Allroad is the wagon. I think there will also be an RS6. I don't think we will only get the Audi A6 Avant as an Allroad. I think we will get an RS6 at some point. It's been very successful in the States. I am curious, I've had 6 Mercedes-Benz E-Classes. I've had every generation of E-Class. I've had, we own a current one and new one. But they ditched the third row. And I'm very curious if we end up in an Allroad. I think the Allroad looks better. It's a lot cheaper. Maybe it's time. Neither car has a third row now.
The new sedan is supposed to start at 65. They have not announced the pricing on the Allroad, but assume a little higher, so 70s.
The current Allroad starts at like 74. This will be 75, 76. But it's a lot cheaper than the Mercedes. So that'll be interesting. I don't plan on replacing my E-Class wagon for a long time, but at some point, one day, maybe I walk away, Kennan. Maybe I say goodbye to my beloved E-Class.
It's hard to imagine. You're such a Mercedes guy.
I'm such an E-Class guy, so specifically an E-Class guy.
Oh, yeah, because you're down on the G-Wagon now. Yeah.
No, I am a Mercedes-Benz guy. I agree with that. But I've had 6 E-Classes.
Yeah.
If you look at my Mercedes-Benz history, it's like that G-Wagon. I had one other G-Wagon years ago, and then it's just E-Classes. I've never really branched out.
That is interesting. I mean, more power to you. We know what we're about.
That's right.
We know what we're about. We love a good E-Class. Nick's got one now.
I drove it to the pod. Had a great time in it.
I got 2 right now, and I'll tell you, they're both great. I haven't seen one of them. In fact, it's still on the water, but they're both great.
It's still swimming.
I'm so excited for the 210 that you're getting to see it and compare them side by side and just have some fun. We got to find a wagon-themed adventure.
You're especially excited for the Supra, I assume.
Yeah, I'm especially excited for the 210 wagon. The Supra is going to be cool. Don't get me wrong. I love the Supra. The money is substantial for them. I'm excited to drive one in stock format, assuming you'll throw me the keys. But the wagon, to me, I'm most excited for because I could see myself doing that.
Okay, A6 Allroad, pump for that. Will be a fantastic experience for everybody, especially Nick. Show us our next news story, please.
Oh, that's the real.
Another angle of the A6 Allroad.
Yes,
AMG,
we'll bring you
back
to Mercedes-Benz for you, a Mercedes-Benz guy. Mercedes-Benz has announced that over the next 36 months, the next 3 years, they're going to produce over 27 new AMG models.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Now, this allegedly comes because Mercedes-Benz and BMW have always kind of been after one another. And BMW has continued to grow and grow and grow. So like they've reached their 14th consecutive year of growth. They sold over 213,000 units last year, whereas AMG sold about 145,000 units. So their solution for this is to throw AMG stuff at more cars.
What are we calling a BMW M?
That's what an actual M car, the WBS VIN.
Are you sure?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
I have a very hard time believing that they sell more actual M cars than C43s and GLA 45s or 43s or 35s or whatever, all that base level stuff. I have a hard time believing that.
According to the data I read, that's what it said. So I'm not saying it's like an M235i. They might be saying like that counts.
Yeah,
but
marketing people going to market.
People going to market. But nonetheless, Mercedes-Benz is going to...
71,000 M cars, 142,000 M performance cars. So it's 2-to-1, the M Light BS cars, like the X3 M50. They consider the X3 M50 to be the top-selling M car.
That is tough. But, M propaganda, I guess. But Mercedes-Benz is going to be releasing a lot of new cars. So they said they're going to be releasing their engine. They're going to reduce their engine variants, though, from 10 different variants down to 4, which is quite a reduction. But it kind of makes sense.
It used to be 1,
Right, exactly. You're right. The 55 guys, it used to be 1. I know what you're saying. But there are cars that we've been waiting for, like a new E63. We've been waiting for that for a while. But they said there'll be the cars they're counting. It's like G63 convertible, a new Black Series, which we've kind of lightly touched on, C53, GLC 53, so on and so forth. And of course, they're counting
a lot of these are just
SUV.
variants of like they make 4 variants of the E class, right? The E53. The E63, the E53 wagon, the E63 wagon. Nonetheless, AMG rocking it. They will continue to be. Every time a new Mercedes-Benz model comes out, there will be an AMG version. I'm waiting for an AMG Sprinter, Nick. I imagine you agree.
Oh, that would be sick.
Bi-turbo a 65 version of it.
Yeah,
V12
and the Maybach version of that, which people do aftermarket. But yeah, I agree. And
You're looking for a nice high roof.
4x4 squared Sprinter.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many possibilities. They did announce the GLE 63 and GLS 63. Both are getting the flat plane crank V8 for 2027. So that's 2 down of the 27. They owe us 25 more.
Right. Plus, there could be more than that, they said.
Yes.
So we'll certainly see. But I don't know. I'm here for more AMG products. I like their cars as a former owner myself. I think they do make...
That's right.
I do... I am, with the M cars, I still feel like it's a little bit more driver-centered, considering BMW M still offers a manual transmission in some few variants, but they still offer one, which is cool. Mercedes-Benz has not offered a manual in a car in a really long time. So different perspectives, but, nonetheless, I'm happy to see more AMG stuff around. I think it's cool.
The death of enthusiast cars has been highly overrated.
I agree with you.
If your Gallardo just burned down and you were unable to put it out using Coke Zero and Raising Cane's chicken fingers, then you might want an insurance provider like Hagerty. Hagerty has declared value policies that help you out, and you can agree in advance what your car is worth. That's why I trust Hagerty and use them to insure all of my cars. Your claim isn't run through a call center script. It's handled by people who actually speak car. Enthusiasts like you. With guaranteed value, you set your vehicle's value up front. So if it's ever totaled, including for catching on fire, that's what you're paid. And the value doesn't depreciate year after year like standard insurance. It might even go up. When your car needs repairs, Hagerty uses high-quality parts appropriate to the vehicle and the damage, including OEM, new old stock, or custom components when suitable and available, handled with real care. So your collector vehicle stays as a collector vehicle. Visit them at Hagerty.com and get insurance for drivers. That's Hagerty.com. As a convertible driver, I wear sunglasses pretty much year-round. And for the longest time, I've accepted a certain amount of annoyance with them. You start moving, a run, a bike, a spirited drive, and they slide down your nose. You've adjusted them constantly, or they just come off entirely, or maybe they even fog up. I figured that was just the trade-off. Then I started wearing Warby Parker Sport. And what I appreciate is they don't look like performance eyewear. They're not that competing in the Olympics look. They look like normal, well-designed sunglasses. But the upgrades are where it counts. A no-slip nose pad so they stay put when you're sweating, a wraparound design that widens your field of vision, and contrast-enhancing lenses that keep things sharp when you're moving. They block 100% of UV, they're polarized, scratch-resistant, and more. I've worn mine hiking on long walks, and they just stay where they're supposed to be. And Warby does more than sport. Prescription glasses, contacts, online eye exams, and over 300 stores if you'd still rather go in person. It's all in one place. Eyewear that's made to move with you. Right now, buy one pair of glasses and get 20% off any additional pairs at warbyparker.com/cars. That's 20% off any additional pairs when you purchase one pair at warbyparker.com/cars.
Okay, that's the end of our news. Time for our Talk Cars segment where we talk about cars. What do we got to talk about? Kennan, why don't you start us off?
Well, I'll take it away. So there's lots of good news in my world all around. So the first thing I want to say is I just want to thank everybody who reached out for the launch of my new thing. I've had over 80 submissions of cars to me. Some I'm saying yes to, some are a great fit, some aren't quite the right fit, just depending on where people are and the value of car and things. But it has been overwhelming, the positivity that people have sent me. People have emailed me and told me that it's a huge inspiration that I'm doing this, and I am so humbled. I genuinely am. It was way better than I was expecting, and I'm truly grateful. So I've got a lot of cars that are coming. I've got a couple cars that are inbound soon, and wrapping some contracts up on stuff that's coming, really cool, interesting stuff. There's a Lotus Emira that's going to go live relatively soon that the photography is finished on. I have a Bentley that's arriving.
You got any Supras?
I already did that for you. I handled that last week. I think that proved how good I am. Good 30 seconds. I got one. He got it delivered. Done. That's
Kennan,
that's how we work.
Kennan, I'm going to tell you. Can I tell you something else I'm looking for that you can find for me?
Sure.
A really clean Evo 8 in a bright color.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Can you?
I'll see what I can do. I mean, you have two cars you haven't seen, but sure, I'll add a third to that list. Why not?
Yeah.
And I got to go get a Jeep any day now. I got to go. And when it rains, I'm going to go get a Jeep.
Man,
so that'll be three new cars.
You're just buying. You're just buying cars.
No, that'll be a lease. That'll be a lease.
Okay. That's fair, as it rusts away on Nantucket anyway.
Chrysler Financial will buy that one. I'm glad to hear that. That's wonderful. It sounds great. It sounds like things are moving along. Kennan is going to be auction representing. You want to sell a car? Don't sell it normally. Sell it with Kennan. That should be your tagline.
Well,
you want to sell a car? Don't sell it normally. Sell it with Kennan. Nick, you like that?
You don't forget the R. Kennan R.
Yeah, Nick likes to keep pointing that out like I'm a pirate. But thank you for the ad, Doug. I really appreciate it. But again, I'm just genuinely humbled, and it's been really positive for me.
People
I'm very
love
happy.
the Kennan. People love the Kennan.
Well,
what can you say?
I love the people, and I love the enthusiasts, and I definitely love the cars. But another big piece of good news happened in my life this weekend. Lewis Hamilton won the Spanish Grand Prix. Finally, Lewis won not only a race in a little while in his career, it's been quite a dry spell, but a first actual race, not a sprint race, for Ferrari, and the world rejoiced. I think everybody was happy about that. Didn't seem like it was going to go the way they did it.
I don't know anything about Formula One, don't watch it, had no idea this happened, but when Lewis started last year, I told you that he was too old and would not be winning. And you were like, we'll see. But I've been right.
Well, he did win. So it
only took him 18 months. How's he doing in the standings? Is he going to win the whole thing, or I imagine not?
Well, he's doing quite well. He's second right now, isn't that right, Ryan? Ryan's the other F1 fan here. Third.
How's he's second if he's only won one race?
Well, there've been a variety of winners. Kimi Antonelli from Mercedes-Benz has really been crushing it.
Nick and I,
it's early in the season, Doug, so the point system is...
Due to some controversy in the Middle East, we lost 2 races and had to take a sabbatical in the middle of the season, which was a little abnormal. So there haven't been as many races now as there would have otherwise been, which is part of why this is the case. But nonetheless...
Nick and I watched NASCAR in the Moonshine days, and back then it used to be obvious who won. You know what I mean? It used to be obvious who was leading in the points. It was the guy who transported the most moonshine. Am I right, Nick?
Yeah, sure.
Right, exactly.
The other, Ferrari has been known on the F1 side to shoot themselves in the foot with bad strategy decisions. It's been a whole thing. They maybe got a little bit of a help from a good safety car that he could pit, basically get a free pit stop, and that helped them win. But it made me think, okay, they've shifted their strategy blunders from Formula One. They're now kind of doing what they should be, and they moved that over to the whole Luce program. So maybe I can forgive the Luce if they want to take all their dumb ideas and funnel it into EVs, right? Ferrari was founded as a race team, and the cars were just there to support the race team. So if they want to start winning F1 again, do whatever you want with EVs.
No, you hit it on a point. Jeremey Clarkson made this point many years ago. He said, when the road cars cars are good, they suffer in Formula One. And when the Formula One cars are good, the road cars suffer.
Well,
so the road cars are having a bit of a tough time with the Luce. And Lewis Hamilton
This
is winning
win brought
races.
to you by the SF90.
I'll tell you this. I'm proud of Lewis. I personally haven't accepted any Barcelona GP since they left Montjuic. The Spanish know what I'm talking about. But I'm happy for Lewis, and I'm happy for Ferrari, except for all the tumult in the road car division, as you bring up. And I think that I speak for Kennan when I say that I would prefer racing success to road car success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the old stuff, so it works out well for me.
The cars were already built. Now we just want to win.
That's right.
It's ironic that they care to win anymore, considering they're making this electric hatchback thing. Like, does anybody give? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even matter to the people who are going to be buying that trash, right?
Couldn't agree more.
That's true, but I mean, think about it. The Luce could, if Ferrari can pull it off, and I really want to see Lewis win his 8th championship, become the most successful driver in history.
Me too.
I think actually a lot of people actually do kind of want to see that.
What are
love
you
him or hate him.
talking about? What about Schumacher? You don't want Schumacher to be the most successful driver in
Well,
history?
they're tied. They're tied with 7 world championships between them, and Lewis has been around longer and has racked up more accolades as a result. But I mean, he still is performing at such a high level.
Yeah.
So it just made me really happy. Not only to see the Ferrari on the top, but also like I've never been a diehard Lewis Hamilton fan. I'm happy he races in my colors now, but like, I'm really happy for
When
him.
is the last time Ferrari won an F1 race?
Carlos Sainz 2 years ago, right? Wasn't that right? I believe that was,
It's been a minute.
Oh, man, I Google it and it says it yesterday at the Barcelona
Nice,
Grand
yeah,
Prix.
that's right. Don't you forget it, buddy.
This is the problem with AI. This is the problem with AI.
What? It's up to
Meanwhile,
date.
they
That's
don't
accurate.
recognize that I don't support the Barcelona Grand Prix since it left Montjuic. Okay, we want to move on to the other cars that was a big deal in Nick's world. Nick, tell us.
Oh my God, the world stopped over the weekend. Everyone
And
stopped
not
what they were
because
doing.
of Lewis Hamilton. It was bigger than that.
Bigger than that. Although a problem Ferrari's had in the past, we had an Italian car burned to the ground on TV. So Stradman's OG Gallardo, what started the channel, he famously, after he quit his job, basically lived out of this thing. It had gone through a number of iterations, including a big turbo build that went pretty wrong. It then got a new motor after that went wrong. He was just driving it around.
Who did the new motor that lit up?
I believe it was done by Royalty Exotics in Vegas, and then the turbo build was done by that. But Stradman made it very clear he doesn't blame any of the people that had touched it. It had been leaking power steering fluid, and there was a puddle in his garage, and he was driving it anyways. He went to, I believe, Raising Cane's to go get some takeout for him and his girlfriend. And when the car caught on fire, he didn't have a fire extinguisher, so he used the Coke Zero to try to put it out.
And the Ferrari cover that was...
He tried to do the blanket. He tried his best, but the whole thing is on camera, which is just unreal. You hear of exotic cars burning down, maybe you see one, but to have it on video and then watch him vlog as these random Good Samaritans come with fire extinguishers to put it out, and then the cops come, and then Sophia comes with a TRX and a flatbed. You watch the whole thing unfold. It is just the wildest 13-minute vlog I've ever seen.
Wild. I watched the video. I rarely watch videos. I watched the video, and I was thinking to myself, I am glad that I'm not a vlogger. Because he's sitting there, the car is burning down, and he's filming. I don't begrudge him this. I feel bad for him. He's sitting there having to film this whole thing because he knows he's going to need the footage. And I'm this is not a moment that I would want to be sitting there trying to grab my phone. I would want to be dealing with it in other ways, not on camera, not showing the world how I'm thinking. Because this car's been integral to his entire career and his whole story arc and all that. Definitely not what I would want to be thinking about while my car is burning down.
Maybe
Nick, you've had a couple of cars catch fire. Could you imagine, getting a camera and doing that whole situation?
It's funny, having had my fair share of car troubles, my thought was I would have let that thing burn to the ground. At some point, you don't even want to try to save it and just
he has
say
some sort of sentimental attachment to the
it's
car.
definitely his most sentimental, definitely not his fastest car or best car or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it's his most sentimental, most like connected to car. It would be like the E39 burning down.
Yeah,
equivalent.
Kennan, take us through the E39 M5 starts catching on fire. You make YouTube videos. Do you get out your camera and start filming it right there on the roadside?
No, I hope that it maintains power and the dash cam catches it. But other than that, no, I would just focus on trying to save the car. I do keep a fire extinguisher in my car, which I think this underscores, especially with older cars, even ones that are relatively reliable. If there's a problem with it, don't drive it. Just fix it, especially if it's a flammable liquid that's ending up on the ground. Maybe get that fixed before you take it out to go get Racing Canes. But the other thing is that having a fire extinguisher in your car at all times, especially if it's older and you really love it, if you can catch the fire while it's small, then it's worth repairing. But when it gets to this level, like that it's coming out the intakes and the wheel well, it's like it's a big scary thing.
He has a car mounted on the wall. It's currently a old Formula One or Indy car. I can't remember which. But all the comments are like, "Oh, this is your new wall car," and that would be a cool turn it into an art piece or something. Because
you bet he fixes
this car's already gone through a lot of trouble. Like I don't resurrecting it at this point it's maybe too far.
I mean,
gone.
you can do it, and it's going to make for a good series, whatever happens, and maybe he sends it down to our buddy Rich Rebuilds, who Rich rebuilds it.
Oh, that'd be sick.
He doesn't rebuild poor, am I right?
That's right.
Tavares was in the comments as well. So yeah, there are some people raising their hands. I disagree with you on the whole vlogging thing. So as someone, a fellow enthusiast of takeovers, like you and Jason Camisa, the problem is that the footage from those events are never that good, right? Like either people aren't filming or the ones that are filming like don't even know which orientation for the phone and are just like yelling into it. We got like the production quality of watching the Gallardo burn to the ground is extremely rare to like see it, feel it, like experience it with him.
Yeah.
Like there was one part where he kind of like started to choke up and like was just like so overwhelmed. Like I felt the same roller coaster of emotions he did.
I thought it was great. It was interesting to watch it as a watcher. Yeah. I just feel for him, I feel like I'm sad that your life involves, your first thought when your beloved car is burning down is, I'm not going to, instead of running around to the next door to all the businesses trying to find a fire extinguisher, screaming in the street or calling the fire, my first thought is, let's get out the camera because my audience has to see this, like it would just be hard. I think that lifestyle would be kind of challenging.
I feel that, but I just feel for him, and I feel bad. I remember vividly when he bought this car. It wasn't that long after I bought my M5, and it's just like I understand the sentimentality around it, and it's just sad to see a car go down like that.
When Thomas Edison's laboratory caught on fire, he was quoted as saying, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." Right. This Stradman did us all a Thomas Edison here and basically said, "I'm going to gift the world watching a Gallardo burn to the ground." That is now off my bucket list, and thankfully it's not my Gallardo. So thank you, Stradman.
Hop into the comments on this video and write that as a comment. Go get your mother and all her friends. You'll never see a fire like this again.
Yeah. That quote works a lot of different levels, I think.
Thomas Edison quote. Not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting.
I want to talk TTRS. I see there's some TTRS activity. For those of you longtime viewers, not who haven't been a longtime viewers know about it. Now, Nick is well known in the Audi community because he money shifted to TTRS and blew the motor years ago. And now it looks like he's thinking about getting a new one. Nick, tell us about that.
A buddy of mine called me over the weekend at the dealership floor. He's like champing at the bit, like, should I buy this? And I told him to slow his brakes. Like the price they're asking for wasn't that good. I go, there's one on Cars and Bits. And so I went to go look at it for him because it happens to be local in Encinitas, California, owned by a professional snowboarder, a dude who I was super stoked to meet. So I'm like, I will go look at it for you. It is the next generation, so automatic only, which means I cannot money shift it. And
it'd be great. I think that's okay. Continue,
it's full circle.
Continue.
Yes, it's full circle. It's modded, much like mine was. It has HREs, the MSS lowering springs. But I told my buddy, because he doesn't want the mods, I will own it for you for a bet. I will reverse mod it for you. Then I will ship it to you in Chicago however you like. So I'm trying to finagle a deal in which my buddy pays for the TTRS and I get to drive it and enjoy it for like a summer as an automatic, and I can non-money shift a DSG TTRS that is tuned and modded.
Doug, you want to take this one?
All I'm going to say is...
Genius, I know. Go get your mother and all her friends.
Another example of how Nick is Kramer. All I'm going to say is... I think that it would be, if you're going to get back into the TTRS community, I think it would be good to do it with an automatic, much like your SLR. I think that that's the best way forward for you with sports cars. That's diplomatic. I'm just going to say that. That's the best way forward with you for performance cars, automatics.
Yeah, well, that's so you say. As a person who's manually converted 2 cars, I don't necessarily think that is correct, but sure, I accept all transmissions.
And also, you've manually converted 2 cars, and you engine converted your TTRS after money shifting it. So you've done a lot of great.
We used the same engine. We just enhanced it. We put in some sleeves and ARP hardware and so on,
and a lockout or two.
It truly never happened. It truly never happened. You can continue to insist that I money shifted it. I am a professional driver on a closed course, so disagree.
It never happened, but by God, I'm trying to get the automatic version now.
I just would be so excited to have another TTRS. It sounds so cool, and it's fun when you can. I know you all did that like big event at Velocity, what have you, but like it's cool when the sellers are like, yeah, come check it out. And then we just like chatted at the parking lot at Panikin Coffee for like an hour about Audis and RS6s and TTRSs and R8s. And we knew a lot of the same people. So it was like a fun way for me to meet one of my heroes, because I grew up obsessed with snowboarding, but like under the premise of like car stuff. So I had just like a fantastic time.
Are you going to pursue this car? Is this actually going to happen where you have the car?
The auction ends tomorrow before this goes. So on Thursday before this goes live. So if my friend Ted wins it, then we'll have to post and say that. I'm going to let him bid under his username because I'm too affiliated with Cars and Bids and all that. But I adore this car, and I'm really hoping come Friday, we have a TTRS in our garage. Fingers crossed.
I/we, baby.
I/we.
Yeah,
those
I
are my
can't wait
pronouns.
too. And I think it's the right TTRS for you, obviously, also.
You mean that as an insult, but I agree. This is the right TTRS for me. I'm excited for it.
Time to move on to the market report, which of course is brought to you by Cars and Bids. The reason that we're all here, Cars and Bids. I want to talk about under $10,000 cars. We had a few great sub 10K cars close. Nick, you watching these sub 10Ks anymore? Are you bigger and better than that?
Oh no, I'm all over it.
Nick, Kennan, type in Focus ST. Let's start there.
Oh, yeah.
We had a Focus ST yesterday, today, I don't know when, sell for 4,700 United States dollars.
That is crazy.
4,700 United States dollars. Now, this car had problems. It's got a bad Carfax. It's got old tires. It's got a little rust, etc. But this is a damn cool car that sold for 4,700 United States dollars. Okay, that's a real thing that happened. And by the way, this is a low result. The car had issues, but there are other Focus STs that are pretty regularly selling for between 6 and 10 grand. Like if they're modded, if they're rough, etc., etc.
But okay, I mean, even at slightly higher, that is such a cool
is very
car.
bad news
that's a
for
great
me.
Daily.
As we intend to sell our 2014 Ford Focus non-ST, and I'm hoping to get more money than that. So I think I'm going to have a chat with my wife on what the realistic values are.
Okay, so then pull up Audi S6, Kennan.
Oh, yes.
Now, we just sold an S6.
Oh my God, the V10.
V10 S6 for 7,400 United States dollars.
What could possibly go wrong there?
$7,400, 435 horsepower V10. Again, it had a bad Carfax. It says that the right high beam is in op, the TPMS is faulty.
Yeah.
Again, the tires are old, but $7,400.
Wow.
Now, when I was a kid, by the way, cars at this price point had flaws. Okay, so that's still the case.
Yeah.
People are gonna comment and be like, "Yeah, but it's gonna blow up tomorrow." Listen, it's sub 10K. Okay, you're not getting a perfect car. All right, but this is a V10 S6. Now, type in Protege, the other big sub 10K sale. This Mazda Speed Protege just sold for $4,600. Now,
Dang.
a Mazda Speed Protege doesn't get a lot of love or excitement. However, this was the predecessor to the Mazda Speed 3, which is a car that a lot of enthusiasts love. It had a turbo engine. There were two special variants of this Protege. One was called the MP3, which didn't have more power, but this one did. It was a turbo 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive, but it's a turbo 4, just like the Focus ST, and it just had a massive service. It had a $7,000 recent service. New head gaskets, new camshaft seals, crank seals, water pump, timing belt, all this stuff. Spark plugs. It was a big service. So this car's ready to roll, and it was a cool car. I know it's old and it's got miles and all that, but it's $4,600. And I'm reminded because every time we post some crazy result of some car with 2 miles, we get all these Instagram commenters being like, the market is rolling. And it's like, yeah, this STI with 2 miles just sold for $150,000. But there are still legitimate enthusiast cars sub 10. They have been hit. They have problems. They are not as fast as modern cars. Yes, all of that is true. There are cars out there, though, that you can have fun with sub 10K, and they are on Cars and Bids. Boom.
I had 2 more cars sub 10K on my watch list that ended this past week.
Yeah.
A 2002 Lincoln Blackwood. Reasonable miles,
for like
well
$6,000.
presented, $6,600. Finding a pickup truck, a decent pickup truck for $6,600 is hard enough on its own. Yet alone, like a full size with a 5.4 liter V8. Like, I'm into this. Like at this point, you could use this for your landscaping business or what have you, and like just be baller.
Can you imagine a landscaper truck?
I would hire him.
Blackwood. You'd absolutely
for
hire him.
For $6,000, you're basically just buying a Super Crew F-150. These were all 2-wheel drive, but yes, I totally agree with your point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then there was a Range Rover actually that sold for $3,200. I mean, top of the line British luxury vehicle.
Okay, well, that's not as special. Range Rovers are always selling for $3,200, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
One day you will see P38s are going to be the cream of the crop, the most expensive.
And the buyer probably overpaid. However, the other cars, the other sub 10K cars, are just a reminder. And then people, whenever I talk about cheap deals in the market, people are like, yeah, but an S6 is going to blow up 2 seconds later. Listen, we're sub 10K. The cars are not going to be great cars. They're going to be cars that are fun, and you buy cheap, and either you put money in and make them nice, or you roll the dice.
Yep.
But nonetheless, there are good enthusiast cars to be had at affordable price points on this site and elsewhere. And every time anything sells for crazy money, some super low mileage car, I just want people to remember that these cars are legitimately out there and legitimately cool. Period.
And that argument that it could blow up applies to anything, right? You could be Stradman's Gallardo. There's a stop sale on Jeeps, Wranglers right now saying park them outside and don't drive them because they might burn to the ground. Like, this applies to any car. There's inherent risk when you buy a vehicle, especially an internal combustion engine vehicle, which literally has explosions every time you turn it on, that it might blow up.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that generally. I mean, that's certainly what a used car salesman and an auction website would say. Hey, anything could happen to anybody at any time. Those cars are obviously higher risk, but they.
Who hasn't blown a motor or a trans once in their life, you know?
You're right. Who hasn't money shifted? That was always true, though. Even when I was a kid, a $10,000 used car was always a bit of a gamble. Like, they were not the cream of the crop. They were not nice stuff, even back 20 years ago. Nonetheless, they are there. And if you have, the car enthusiast market has passed me by, I can't afford anything, there's stuff there. There is still stuff. Yeah. You may not be able to afford what you want, but there is still cool stuff at a reasonable price point.
Not only the S6 had the V10 in that area, the S8 did as well. Mm-hmm. And those are also sub 10K gettable, which, I mean, just
my understanding, those engines
luxurious.
Actually, I mean, I think this car is a Tesla. It's 113,000. I mean, like, they're relatively, I've been told they're relatively reliable. The engines are, like, solid. It's a lot of the other stuff that is a little bit more questionable surrounds it, but, like, the engine's pretty good. But
I wouldn't want to take the gamble if I was spending my last $7,400 on the car.
I agree. But like, you know, if you've got, like, there are exceptions where you can make, especially if you're an enthusiast who wants to work on the car and, like, learn all this stuff yourself. There are ways around. There are ways to do it. I think it's cool that there are still cars out there like this, and you know, I'm into it.
Speaking of that vehicle, remember Mitchell Corman? He drove the Audi R8 to the Arctic Circle on YouTube, and it went super viral. He just did that in a S8 V10. He drove it to Labrador, which is the most eastern point of North America, I believe. But like, again, like, I think he bought this car, I think he said, like, well under sub 10. He had to do some work himself on it, and it had some issues along the way. But again, just like, how cool is that? I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler than a lot of other BS you're buying at that price point. Anyway, I'm happy that those cars are still transacting there, and reminded every time anybody accuses us of, oh, you're running up the value on the STIs by selling super low mile. There's still good stuff out there. There's still stuff that sells affordably. It exists. I think people want to both be picky and be cheap, and that's
Amen,
never
brother. Amen, brother.
Right. But that's never been possible.
Me and
like,
Filippo, that's our design brief. We came out of womb and our mother said, let them be picky and cheap.
Oh, Lord. The other thing that's interesting, I thought last week, was the NSX. You see this, Kennan?
Yeah, I did see that. This one.
Nick, you into this?
For 113 grand, that's what this white NSX sold for. 22,000 miles on it. Like, that's a lot of performance for $113,000. That's a really cool car.
Yeah, and it's got HRE, so Nick would like it. Nick, you like this thing? 113.
I mean, as the only non-Porsche person on this podcast, I would take this over a new 911 any day.
The only non-Porsche person? Nick, I got a Supra that you don't even accept because it's not European enough for you. You know what's interesting? There's levels of this, right? There's the Porsche people, then there's the Euro snobs. You all are those. That's it. That's what you are. And then there's Doug, floating free with his elephant. Land of the plenty with many cars everywhere, including a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, when I think Doug DeMuro, I think man of the people and budget
That's
cars.
not what I said. That's not what I said. I said land of the plenty.
Yes. Man pontificates from Nantucket about his Carrera GT making him not a Porsche man.
No, but you're missing my point, Nick.
I definitely am.
You're doing it willfully because you are such a deep Eurocar snob. Folks,
I am more likely to be seen in an Acura than you are, okay? I agree. 113, the opportunity cost of that 113, the other cars you could buy at that price point, I don't think look as compelling as that. They probably won't be as reliable. Like, that is, to me, an exotic car for 113. Even the Gallardos now you can barely get for 113, and that's going to be a terrible ownership experience compared to this if you're just looking at driving dynamics. I think that these NSXs
seem to be bargains. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We actually missed this in the Talk Cars segment. A little secret about Nick. Nick is looking for a new daily driver for his family.
I am.
He's looking for a 3-row sport utility vehicle. And I'm going to read a direct quote that Nick said to us.
No, I get in trouble every time this podcast comes up. Please be careful.
Man of the people, Nick.
Oh, no.
He said his wife wants a 3-row, small 3-row. We briefly discussed the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is a 3-row, and my wife said, I can't go from a Porsche to a Kia. Now, I got a couple problems with that. First off, it's a Hyundai. I don't even know where this came from. Second,
they're kind of similar.
His wife is the same level of elitists that Nick is, but then Nick also ended this very text by saying, which I respect. She can't go from a Porsche to a Kia, which I respect. Anyway, all the choices that Nick sent to us were Euro, of course. And I'm sitting there telling him, get a Sequoia. Get a Sequoia. Really man of the people car. And we're not there.
Sequoia's too big. I want the 4Runner. They do not make the 4Runner with a 3rd row and the hybrid.
They do make the 4Runner with a 3rd row hybrid. It's called the Sequoia, baby.
No.
You want it all? I got it
the
all.
The Sequoia is too big and obnoxious, much like you. No offense.
You know, there are comments sometimes. People see us talking and there are comments like, these guys hate each other. And I wonder to myself.
Why do they think that?
I wonder to myself, like, do people not, I do think there is, I'm going to get on a little generational horse here. Do people not, like, chat? Like, they're like, it's very clear to me that it's none of us, not only do none of us mean the things that we say to each other, but none of us even remember once the podcast is over what we have said to one another.
That's true.
It's 100% true. Funny enough, I have to watch on Friday to figure out who I need to apologize to later in the day. The worst part is, so I called Sean accidentally. I was describing how the air suspension in my E55 didn't work well. And what I was trying to describe is we had 6 dudes in there, including Sean in the trunk. And I accidentally said he was a larger gentleman, which I did. I just meant compared to the children that would be in the back. So I was like, Sean, I'm so sorry. I listened to the pod. I said that. I didn't mean it in the way that it came out. He didn't reply. And then I texted him again Saturday. I said, I'm so sorry. Can we talk? He's out to lunch with Kennan and one other friend. And I wasn't invited. And it was like a mile from my house. I'm like, oh my God, he's actually mad at me. I text him again. I'm so sorry. No reply. It was not till Wednesday that he texted me saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see this. I meant to reply and didn't."
Also, to be clear, we left Cars and Coffee, just went right there. It wasn't like intentional. I love that in your mind you built
I spent a
this,
week thinking that Sean was literally giving me the silent treatment because of like a comment that I made without thinking.
Maybe there is some
Maybe there
hostility
is.
that comes from this podcast.
Sean, I'm sorry still.
Back on the subject of the Mark Report, and by the way, Nick, I wish you the best finding a Euro SUV for your family.
The Lincoln Aviator has a plug-in electric 3-row, so we might consider American still. And I honestly think the Jeep Grand Cherokee would be our top candidate if it weren't for some reliability concerns. But I know you're going Jeep, so maybe.
Reliability concerns. In other words, he doesn't want to buy American. That's just something to think about.
No.
Kennan, go to the 340R. What were you thinking it would sell for?
I have no idea because it's not like they transact very often. And you talk about a niche. The 340R is so cool, but you have to really want that driving experience. It doesn't have doors. You have to climb and stand on the seat and get in.
But that's pretty easy. It's sold for what, 75?
It's sold for 75 grand, which I think for $75,000, that is a really special, unique driving experience. And I think it's a value, to be honest, but they just don't transact much because there haven't been many that have been imported. There are only 340 of them. And so I think it's a good benchmark to start at. And I think, again, this is a car you have as the fourth car. This is not a secondary sports car. You have to have some other stuff, I think, with like a roof.
I will say, though, driving it the experience was easier than I expected. Like, it was actually a pretty easy car to drive. Once you get past all of the impracticality, like in terms of steering and visibility, like it was unlike my Countach, which is like a hard car to get in and all that stuff. Like, this was actually a pretty drivable car. I was kind of surprised by that. Do you know that when I put up my video, a guy responded in the comments and said, I have one of the only 4 340Rs that were sold new in North America. Lotus got some small volume exception and sold 3 of these things new in the United States. You believe that?
No, I had no idea.
I had no idea.
Really? That is fascinating. You talk about a car that could easily qualify for show or display based on its rarity and how special it is.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
I figured, but I think it is cool as hell. And this is another one of the cars I'm just so excited to have on the site because 340R has been a legend forever. So I don't know. I think that is a good result.
Nick, you got 75 grand. Would you buy this or a TTRS with a manual or automatic transmission?
I'm hoping we get a little better deal on the TTRS, but you can still buy an Aerial Atom 4, and the MSRP is $83,750. So, in theory, like this is going to be probably hold its value better, is a little bit more special, unique. I'm sure a new Aerial is probably better than this, but
it probably
on some
is.
levels,
although. I agree with that. It's an interesting point. However, I would make the argument that once you are roofless, windowless, doorless, the experience. I'm not saying that this and a Polaris Slingshot are the same, but I am saying the majority of what your experience is related to the fact that you're open rather than the feel of the car.
Plus, things like panel gaps and build quality kind of go out the door when you
even
can't
acceleration.
hear
You're joking, but even acceleration. Is it faster than an Aerial Atom? No. Once you're doing fast and you have no anything,
sure,
it doesn't really matter. I drove an SP1, which is the same, also a completely open car. I drove an Elva, and it's the same kind of thing, if I'm honest. And an Elva's $3 million. Same basic idea, to be frank.
Yep.
Wind.
At that point, it's just about rarity and how it looks when you park it, because your feel is roughly the same.
Having seen that car in the Cars and Bids dungeon for the last couple months, it is something to look at too. It is so cool, and the blue Alcantara on the inside really pops.
Yeah.
I think even if you didn't drive it a ton.
An Elise that they made even less car, that's already insane. But I'm thrilled that we had it, thrilled that I got to drive it. It's a very cool car, and I'm really glad I got to do a quirks and features video with it because it's really quirky and weird. The fact that panel is translucent, the whole thing is just bizarre.
It's so cool. I've just been told the car's going to the Bay Area. So if you live in San Francisco, keep an eye open for a 340R.
To Ryan Lopez, that is the Pacific Northwest. They're both places he doesn't need air conditioning. All right, we got to move on to the questions. The questions are great this week. I only got through a few of them because they were so good. I just kind of put them in, and they're great. And a lot of them, Nick, are really aimed at you. They're
Oh, no.
real deep Nick questions. By the way, is Filippo done? Does he not work for us anymore? Is he?
I don't.
what's
You know,
the
he
deal?
doesn't text us anymore. He's in Italy. Maybe he got kidnapped.
But is he
and there's some
still in
ransom.
Italy? I mean, am I paying
think.
for this trip? He's gone for months and months and mons. What's
I'll
going
tell you
on?
what, without his presence, we are all paying for this trip. I miss him dearly, so I can't wait for him to come back. I'm sure he will not listen to this podcast. And, you know, I texted him the other day, no response, texted him again, no response. Maybe I upset him. Maybe I said something.
Maybe
You did. Maybe we all did. First question for Jacob from GN. Dear Doug and Playgroup, so true. Why aren't modern Aston Martins more popular? They're beautiful and luxurious cars with great performance, and they haven't destroyed the image like certain Italian car makers. He's referring to Ferrari and the ass Luce. So why aren't Aston Martins more popular and worth more on the secondary market? It's an interesting question. They've just never been.
No, I think
Even
part
though
of
the brand is strong.
The brand is strong, but I think that one of the things about them people are always perpetually concerned about is reliability.
Yep.
But the modern ones with the AMG engines, it's like, I would
argue that
worried.
the reason that the modern ones with the AMG engines have not been particularly strong is precisely because of that AMG engine. It's just not. It's like
not
I can get an
characterful.
AMG GT. You know.
I think
agree,
it's not even reliability; it's depreciation.
that was my next point. Is that like
But that's his point. I think his point is why the question
at this-
asker is asking why are those depreciating and other brands are not.
I
is
think
what
because
he's saying.
I think Ferrari just has like such brand cachet. Like it is so.
But doesn't Aston Martin?
aspirational.
Aston Martin has
No,
this
it
James
doesn't.
Bond. If you
Yeah,
go up
but
to
it's-
someone on the street
James
and
Bond is
talk to them about
cool.
Ferrari or Aston Martin, they hold them in similar regard, like randoms. you
True,
know?
but like for us car enthusiasts, like they're cool, but Ferraris are like your heart burns for that car. Like it's like
Let me
that's
ask you a
how it should be,
question.
except for Luce.
I agree with you completely, and I think honestly, emotional desire is the primary reason. But I have to ask you: do you think that now that they've come out with the Valhalla and the Valkyrie and the Valor, has your opinion changed?
I think that I respect them tremendously. I respect them a lot. I mean, you know, the fact they've gone to IMSA with an NA V12 and Le Mans with an NA V12, that's just badass. Like that, I respect the hell out of that. And so, like, I certainly value the brand more, but I've always valued the brand like a lot. Like, I plan after the Viper, the next car I want is a Vanquish, an 05 Vanquish S. That's what I really want.
Me too.
Because I'll tell you what, like, I've driven 575 and Vanquish competitors back to back. The sound of the Vanquish, the looks. I prefer a lot of aspects of that car to the 575. 575 is a better car, and it does say Ferrari on it, but like the Aston is great. But I don't know.
What's our
value it.
problem then? What's our Aston Martin problem? We
Well,
don't
that car
love
is
it.
definitely reliability, but yeah, I just think it's.
You
like,
don't think Ferraris are reliable? Ferrari
they-
values are strong, even the really unreliable ones.
That's a fair point. I think that. I also wonder if I don't know what production numbers are like between the two. If it just there was just something. Luca de Monza's MLO mastered making a Ferrari feel special in that year we grew up in.
I think that there's definitely a heritage component. There's definitely an emotional brand component. I also think that when you target luxury more than passion, luxury cars always depreciate and passion cars rarely depreciate as much. But I do think that Aston Martin is unfairly targeted in the car world. I think that their cars deserve to have stronger, especially because they still do a lot of manual cars.
Yep.
They still do a lot of actually pretty desirable enthusiast cars. I do think that a attainable mid-engine manual transmission car, an Audi R8 of the Aston Martin world, would really go a long way towards getting a lot of people interested in a lot of real enthusiasts interested in the brand. And my sense is that they wanted to do that with both Valhalla and Valkyrie, and those cars both came in at a way too unattainable price point. And I think that if I think that Aston maybe could have some effect on really getting into sink your teeth into the enthusiast world, while Porsche's off making automatic hybrids that you can't access the engine bay, and Ferrari's doing the Luce, which is the worst thing ever. Aston maybe could go out and do that. And I wonder if that's an opportunity that they should seize.
Now's the time, Lawrence Stroll. Make it happen. This is it. I personally love the brand. I hope to own. There are a couple of Astons on my list I'd really like to own. You want to repeat.
Yeah,
Which-
but because they've depreciated heavily and are just
Right.
hard to say no to. Yeah, and in the whole Ferrari theory, if the road cars are good, the race cars stink and vice versa. I think Aston DNF'd or were last and second to last in the previous couple of races. So they've got some hope. The road cars are
They're still
improving.
doing Formula One over at Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
tough.
a tough situation. Yeah, Adrian Newey, not happy. It sounds like over there.
It's
So,
tough.
Yeah, it's bleak.
I think the depreciation thing is a hangover from the reliability of previous cars, and then I think it's you get rich, you buy a Ferrari or a Lambo. Like those are the two. So this has to be like the fourth or fifth exotic car that you get before you kind of like checked the boxes that the rich guy go fast boxes. And I think that holds them back a ton. Where it's like, okay, the buyer pool of Astons is really small, where they're like tired of Ferraris.
The problem also is
different.
that like Aston doesn't really want to go after the like really crazy fast exotic. Like I don't think they think they can play there. I think they think their space is the luxury exotic, and by doing that, you're sort of opening yourself up to that depreciation.
And with their latest projects, I think they're wrong. I think they could compete in that space, and I think it would be pretty compelling. But I will say, when you look at Aston Martin on Cars and Bids, it is a sea of gray
it's luxury
and
cars.
black and red. It's luxury cars.
Luxury cars.
When you look up Ferrari, it is a sea of red, exciting sports cars. There are some black and silver ones in there too. But like that, the colored palette alone tells you a lot. Like between you know about like lighting your heart on fire.
Your median price on that Aston Martin one is like 38 grand too.
Yep.
Which again, the new cars, you look at the values of the used cars and you say, oh, these cars don't hold their value, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I think if Aston Martin just stays in the game, they have a shot too, because Jaguar's falling out. Like a couple of these brands go away and they have less competition. That's the other problem. If you want a British sports car, all right, you got Lotus, you've got McLaren, you've got Jaguar. Like there are plenty of options, and I think if they were the only British sports car, that might give them some traction, and they could really lean into the whole James Bond thing or what have you. But I think McLaren having their moment kind of took away the opportunity Aston had to be sort of the preeminent rich guy go fast out of Great Britain.
And I think they don't want it. I think they want to be seen as more of a classy, luxurious, well-styled situation. But it has been interesting watching them come with these super high-end exotics. And
I love them.
Yeah, same. Next question from Felipe Lotus. I see you guys like to sell your cars on Cars and Bids. We've all sold cars on Cars and Bids. But other than Filippo buying a GTI, you seem to find and purchase cars elsewhere. Should we get the impression it's great to sell on your site, but as a buyer, it's best to look elsewhere or for a deal? If Nick bought a car on Cars and Bids, and apparently tomorrow he's going to buy a TTRS.
I've bid on a lot.
I've bid on cars too that I genuinely went after and wanted. So it's.
I would argue though that it's not because we think it's a bad place to find a deal or a good car, whatever. It's more that we're very particular. I would love to buy a car on Cars and Bids. You know, I went out looking for a Supra. I wanted a red manual. You can't find that. It's very uncommon to find the kind of stuff that we have started looking for basically anywhere. I mean, even Kennan with the Viper, he is pretty specific, right? There's a couple model years, no modifications, certain color, et cetera, et cetera. If you wait around, if you are that specific, it can be a while before a car like that comes up on Cars and Bids. And I find us to be a relatively impatient lot. And I also find us to be a lot that's willing to kind of change tack based on Nick, especially if the wind blows a different way. Maybe there's a convertible Range Rover I can get. You know.
Well, I think not as a flex here, but for better or worse, we are now at a stage where cars tend to find us because of the podcasts and other things. And so if you can get a non-publicly transacted car, that's really rare, and you don't have to compete against others, and someone just like, hey, I'm trying to, like, literally someone emailed me this week saying, if you want to give up on your P38, I have a G500 I will sell to you cheap. And it's like, yeah, if it went on Cars and Bids, he would get more money. If I can get a pocket deal here, like maybe that is like, I'm not, no, is what I told him. But like if cars find you, it's kind of a nice thing to do.
Nick, take that deal. You get out of your P38, which is trash, and you get into a G, which is great. They're great cars.
But it's so great that Doug is going to get rid of his and never touch a G again, and it's the worst thing that's ever happened. And the tirade he went on the other day in our friend chat was rough. So definitely get one of those. Sean couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. Surely you can.
My P38 now is a glove box. It's pretty sorted.
Luxury.
You know what's sad about my G, Kennan? It's the last car that is a holdover from before the Cars and Bids era.
No,
my Ford GT.
The Ford GT is, you know.
And so if the G goes, there will just be that one car left.
And the Ford GT, if the right Heritage comes along, is not looking great for that one either. So,
I really want a Heritage now. I'm off white. I want a Heritage. I'm not going to spend for it.
Want that clown.
The other corollary here is you all have a rule that you can't bet on a car in Cars and Bids unless it's no reserve,
That's
which
true.
does limit it because not everyone runs no reserve. Kennan and I are now able to do whatever we want and go
That's
willy-nilly. But Doug, you especially have to be careful on bidding on things because seeing your username on an auction could sway the results. So you gotta you gotta be serious.
I don't like to bid. Because for that reason, I don't want the seller then to be upset. I think that sometimes if people saw that they were bidding against me either for financial reasons or because it's like the guy who owns the site, I'm going to defer to him, people might bail. And I don't want the seller then to be like, hey, you tanked my auction because you bid and people didn't want to participate. And I don't even necessarily think that would be true, but I do think that's an argument that sellers could make and it could be a real possibility. And so I would generally prefer not to buy on Cars and Bids if I can avoid it. I will say there are some cars that have come up recently that I've been like, I'm gonna throw it all, forget it all, I'm gonna do it. But I definitely don't want to be accused of meddling with the process, and I think that could be a legitimate accusation someone could throw against me if I'm bidding with my username, for sure.
I had that happen with a Z4M coupe I was bidding on Hawaii, actually, that you encouraged me to bid on. And I started bidding on that car. And then that was exactly what someone said. They're like, wait a minute. They realized, like, oh, well, he works for the site, like, probably kick it. Then they're like, wait a minute. I'm just going to keep bidding. And so the guy came back, he commented this, and then he just came back and kept bidding, and that was the guy who ended up winning the car. It just went a little higher than I wanted to. But yeah, you're all the points you guys hit on are correct.
Yeah. Personally, I think both of you are operating in an abundance of caution there. The more bidders, the better if I were the seller, but I respect that you guys have rules and boundaries and like want to avoid even the appearance of foul play. I think that's the right move. But personally, if I ever run a car with an reserve, you're welcome to bid on it, Doug.
I appreciate that. That's
You'll definitely
beautiful.
want the cars that Nick will have to offer. I'm sure.
I do. I want cars.
I saw the Stick Mercy on the site.
I want cars that were lesser versions of cars that I myself did previously own. Nick, you should get a G-Wagon for that reason. Go down my road again. Come on.
Big words from someone who just bought a 210 E55 wagon.
Nick, you think about leasing a Wrangler too? You think about leasing a Wrangler?
No, I would get a Grand Cherokee 4xE.
They don't sell that ananymore. All right, next question from
They would
JB.
for me. Someone wants to place an order. Oh, it's open again. Here we go.
From JD1016. Dear Doug, can you talk about your feelings toward Volkswagen? It's a brand with a huge enthusiast following, but you've only had one. I had a Mark V GTI. And you can't seem to hide your contempt, like call Camisa a Volkswagen guy. I want to be clear about this. I do not love... I don't love when an enthusiast is into one brand, of any brand. It's not my thing. I joke about our friend group, which is funny because we have incredibly diverse car tastes, but it's still not diverse enough for me. Like I like SUVs, pickup trucks, cars, sports cars, sedans, wagons, luxury. I like everything. And I do not identify well with people who are enthusiasts of one brand. And Camisa's got say some Volkswagens and BMWs. That's fine. I mean, I don't care. It's not like he should change because I told him to. For me personally, I like a good variety of persons. So Volkswagen guy is a derisive term for Camisa. But if it was Honda, then I would say he's a Honda guy. You know, it's just not. I just really believe that like a true my love of cars is like deep and pure and all encompassing in a way that I just don't get when people are singular brand people. That's my answer to that.
Because I think the thing you discount from that is if they grew up with a car, that's what they love, that's what they know, and so they've gotten deeper into that, and I respect that a lot. And honestly, also people may not have the capacity you have to memorize every detail about every single car that's ever been built, and they're just like there are things that either suit their needs or suit their tastes, and I think that's fine.
But having 12, it's fine. Yeah, but having 12
it doesn't make you less of
not wanting to move on. It's not my thing, and it's not what. And so I'm always gonna whenever I meet someone or know someone who's had 10 of the something, I always am. Whenever they talk to me, I'm always taking a little bit of have that bias in my mind. This person is talking as someone who is into this type of car, and I am not into any type of car. By the way, I grew up with a Mazda Tribute.
Right.
Congratulations.
True.
3 liter.
Yes. I just,
That's not a Volkswagen, just for your awareness.
Well, he was talking about cars people grew up with. What about the Ford Escape Twin? What if you grew up with a Tribute Mariner? or Escape.
I grew up with a first-gen, first-model year VW Touareg. Fantastic vehicle. Dealer might have bought it back 18 months later, but it was lovely when it worked. I made the mistake of doing that. I think I was really into Audis. They become familiar, and then you you become part of I was part of an Audi group, and then all my friends had Audis, and I see how you fall into that trap where you're just sort of I'm going to stay with the four rings, and honestly, they were all great cars.
You got the scan tools. You are.
My VACCOM tool alone was I knew how to do all the mods. It was great, and that does build some loyalty, much like flying an airline, I suppose. But I am really happy now that I've experienced more variety, and sure, I will put an American car or a Japanese car on that list. If anything, just to try it, and if I don't like it, fine, I'll sell it.
He's not going to do that, folks.
Nope. He's going to buy another P38 Range Rover.
Yes.
Next question this is a good question actually to ask with Filippo not here, from Saab 95 or Saab 95. Doug, what is the consensus on owning a Saab these days? Are they cool and unique, or are they just a weird brand for eccentric people? It's an interesting question. There was a long time where they were cool and unique and kind of fun and quirky, but they've gotten so old now that it's gotten harder to do it.
Which, to me, I respect even more. It means you really love and like.
To an extent, but I do think it has also sussed out some of the quirky people who would have had them. When they weren't they always had this reputation for architects and designers drove Saabs. Now you have to be a pretty legit finding your own parts on eBay type of dude to make it work. And I still think it's cool. I still think they're special cars, but it's definitely become much more of a niche than it was. When I was a kid, Saabs were just another luxury brand like Audi.
Yeah.
It's definitely gone in a different direction since they haven't existed in 15 years.
Man, it's been that long.
You ever think about a Saab, Nick?
Nope. It is a deep Filippo car, though. I mean, what you're describing, slightly contrarian, once a deal.
Slightly.
It fits a certain type of person now, and I don't think it's just sports car buyer. It's someone trying to make a statement almost.
I want a 9. Yeah, where's the one?
Next question. This one is for you, Nick, from Cali Ace. Hello, Doug and the gang. It seems several of you are in need of a new daily driver. Seeing as some of the more interesting electric cars have fallen into a more intriguing price point, is there a chance someone on the team will go electric? Nick, what about that? You're looking for a new family car. Have you thought about a used electric car at a good price?
I have, and I still love that idea. I'm not sure if my wife's on board. The ID Buzz is up there, again, because I'm looking for a people mover.
Get a nice Euro car. Why not?
Across Turismo. Yes, a Euro car, of course. What else did we look at? R1S. I'm still really into. Honestly, the Model X, as much as I'm not, I hate those doors, but they're cheap, man. They are so cheap for just a drop the kids off. But it's got to have 3 rows. 3-row pure EVs is not a terribly popular or large segment, but I think the R1S would be the top of my list. They haven't really depreciated as much as some of the others, and the ID Buzz is still too new. Someone claimed that you could get them for 30 or 40. I can't find those. I can't replicate that. They're still mid-50s.
You can do it, but it's a base model that you probably wouldn't want.
So
you want multicolor.
We're almost there. If I were okay with the sedan, it would be the Audi RS e-tron. You can get those dirt cheap. They look amazing. It would be a great commuter.
Those are great Euro car choices. Kennan, you ever thought about going electric?
Yeah, one of the electric cars that really appealing is the Audi RS GT e-tron, or however it's.
I've heard of those. I've heard someone else recently tell me that those are desirable and appealing cars.
I think it is. I think it's one of the most attractive 4-door.
He pulled a Nick and tuned out while I was talking.
I
and
absolutely
then repeated.
know what you're saying, but that's that for me is
Am I a woman? Are you gonna take my ideas and claim them as your own now?
Oh my God.
Okay, all right, Nick. But no, I genuinely think that's one of the only cars I can think of, or EVs that I'd actually genuinely
I
want
could
to own.
see you in an i3 as a daily.
So i3 is another one. The only thing I'm really concerned about with that is insurance, because it's a carbon tub. So if anything happens with that, my understanding.
Well, they're $5,000. So what you do is you don't insure it.
Right. So I don't know. That would be cool.
I don't know about how you guys feel, but I was considering getting an Audi e-tron GT-RS. I don't know how it's supposed to be said.
I completely tuned out because I was trying to think of any others that I liked, and there aren't that many I don't know. It will happen one day when the Rivian R3 comes out. I really want one of those because I like that car a lot, but it doesn't exist
I
yet.
will
It
tell
won't for
you
a while.
this, people. I will buy an EV when Mercedes-Benz makes an E-Class station wagon electric.
Yep.
I could see you in the Escalade IQ. You seem like the kind that want to flex in the pickup drive-through. The kids
Nick,
pickup.
You're giving me crap. You're over here trying to get a Model X with your doors.
I'm a
Let me
man
tell
of the
you
people.
something,
I
Nick.
would be getting a Silverado RS work truck probably.
Hey, Nick, real question. If you got that Model X you're lusting after, would you get one of those we bought this before we knew Elon was crazy bumper stickers?
100%. His wife would make him do it. There's no question.
I wouldn't get it. The doors alone are a deal killer on it. I'm just saying they're a deal if you just want like a SUV commuter.
I will only get an electric. I would have bought an i5 electric wagon, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I want an electric. Now that we're having a third kid, things are a little bit more challenging. But I will get an electric E-Class wagon. Feed me an electric E-Class wagon, and I will buy it. The world has learned that the only way I'll buy cars is if they're Mercedes-Benz E-Classes. So if you want me to go into the next thing, get me an E-Class station wagon.
You know,
Right.
have the
Euro
electric
car.
G-Wagons come down at all in the used market?
No, they have not, but they will
I'd
because
be
they're
into that.
shockingly not that desirable. I want to do two more questions.
Okay.
Two more questions. One is for Whistling. It says question for Doug, but this is really a question for Nick and Kennan. Dear Doug, who do you, if anybody, let drive your special cars? What are your criteria for making decisions? Does insurance limit anybody from driving your cars? Nick, have you ever driven any of my cars?
Ford GT.
Drove the Ford GT, stalled it out, and it's a
The
car
easiest
which
car in the world to drive.
you have to both turn the key and push a button. And I kept turning the key and nothing happened. I didn't see the button. I stalled out backing into a car show, and then like everyone's staring at me, and I'm just sitting there not able to turn it on, and then I have to roll down the window and yell, "Doug, can you turn the car on, please?"
Then he opened the door, which like getting into a parking spot. It was a hard
tough.
situation for us all to witness. But
And I got to drive your Countach very briefly, picking it up from service. For some reason, you needed me to do that instead of flatbedding it or finding something else. But
Yeah,
I wanted
that's
the
right.
excuse to drive a Countach. It was a pretty special moment. But those are the only two. And I drove your A-Class. That was pretty neat
nice.
on a racetrack.
Doug doesn't let me drive
Kennan-
any of his cars. I've only driven two. I've driven the A-Class and the E450 All-Terrain. That's it.
Really?
That's it. Never
I
driven any
don't.
of those.
A lot of people
I don't
really.
want the responsibility.
A lot of people are cool with people driving their cars. It makes me a little bit more nervous. It's hard. My cars are hard to replace.
Yep.
And there's a couple of them are really expensive. And I think that's a real burden you put on someone. And I think that people are like, oh man, it's so cool. You let you drive your car GT. Well, that's cool right up until it crashes. And then it ends a friendship and more. I mean, can you write a check for that? Can I like it's obviously it's insured, but like what does that mean? What happens next? You know, it's not a great scenario to be in. And I just would rather not have it occur. I don't really have problems.
Yeah. I'm pretty generous with lending my cars out.
Yeah, Nick takes the opposite approach.
Yeah.
He says,
I would let anyone
something.
drive my 993 Turbo. Does anyone want to? Guys, do you want to
I'm
drive
down.
my 993?
I would be down to take a spin and see how overvalued that car is.
I've offered
like to find
that
out for
car
myself.
to several of my friends, and no one seems to be particularly interested in driving the
I'm
993.
fine. I love 993s.
It's funny. I lent out my SLR to Braden the other day. He was like, "Oh, I want to just take it out to this like car show," and I'm like, "Sure." And it's like at this boba place, and there's like he sent me a picture. There's like trance music and like neons and fog machines. And I'm like, my God, when you said car show, I thought something
That's
totally
Braden.
different.
That's the kind of show Braden's going to go to. You got to know that
Right.
going in. What did you think he was going to take it to like a luxury goods show? Like it
he's
was going to
not
be like
me.
high-end
I mean,
luggage and
I wasn't
couple of
expecting
cars?
a Concours, but I just didn't think that like it would be like the Bao Buns crowd. Like I just sort of expected.
Braden is our link to a world that we left behind. That's
Yeah.
what you need to remember.
I think it was cool to see it there because it just looks so out of place in so many levels. But he had a good time. And then he's very careful. Like he texts me, all right, I'm there. I'm returning. It's back safely. And then he wipes it down. Like he runs a detailing shop. So I kind of get a free detail out of it. So it works out great. But
Elite finish off of Carroll Canyon
Road.
Road.
and importantly, he asks for permission every time, and I give it to him. So like if your shop is taking your car against your knowledge, that's one thing. if you're like, no, I would love that. He always gives me like really cool pictures he takes on his fancy camera. Like, I'm pumped on it. And I think it's so cool to let other people experience the cars. Like,
I agree.
It means so much to him. And for me, it's like, great. I don't care if you put on 3 miles driving it to a boba tea place in Convoy Street.
I have to tell you, I am legitimately and truly sad that my friends do not get to experience the Carrera GT. I truly believe that the Carrera GT, how I have it set up, is probably the greatest driving car that I have ever driven. I mean that with all the sincerity in my heart. And it is, I am sad that my friends and people that I think really would appreciate it have, like Sam has his mid-engine Boxster. I think that would be cool for him to have that experience. I think both of you would get a lot out of it. I really think it is special.
I don't want that.
The clutch is 40 grand.
Yeah. I don't want
like,
it's like, I've also, no offense, I've driven Carrera GTs before, but like not yours set up the way it is.
High speed. He's driven at high speed.
No, I obey the laws, of course, Tug. What are you going? You're going out, going beyond the speed limit? Don't be ridiculous. I will say I have been lucky. I mean, I've ridden in the car when you have pushed it, so I get it. I just don't want the responsibility of a $2.5 million car.
Everybody I've ever even intimated maybe driving that car is like, I'd rather not, and I agree. Like, I don't like driving the cars for videos. If it wasn't for videos, I wouldn't drive a CLK GTR and an F. It seems really cool when you're 22. Oh man, are you gonna drive? It's not all that cool when like life is real.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Best part's handing
really
the keys
don't
back.
want that experience.
That is the beauty of having cheaper cars, is then you don't question it. I lent out my P38 to someone for weeks because they totaled their car. Still has my Ford Focus, this guy. But I'm like, cool, it's great. It's free parking. The Arnage I lent to Sean and he took it up to LA. Like, it is cool when you have cars that you're not precious about to do that, but the nice cars you don't. The other corollary that I learned the hard way, I lent my Murcielago out to our good friend Matt. He loved it so much that he immediately started shopping for one. Couldn't find the right Mercy, so he went into a Diablo. That Diablo then has had some mechanical issues and resulted in a major rebuild. And I carry some guilt that I kind of instigated this, right? Like, I got him into the idea of a Roadster V12 Lamborghini. He then pursued it. He sent me that Diablo prior to buying it. I was like, yeah, that looks cool. And then it ended up being just a disaster to own. And I'm like, I was the butterfly effect here that resulted in him needing to send his Diablo to Columbus, Ohio to get rebuilt. So you do have to worry about that a little too.
I take pride in that. Doug took one ride in my 355 and wanted a buzzy Italian car and bought the Countach. So
That's exactly right. That is exact That did happen.
So it can work the other way.
It could work the other way, but he
did have to spend 50 grand on service.
That was the greatest physical possession that I own is my Lamborghini Countach. Last question from Coyote Queen TN. Coyote Queen TN, dear Doug and crew, we all know the famous story of Ford trying to buy Ferrari in '63, the deal collapsed, etc. But what if the deal had gone through? How do you think Ferrari would look today under the blue oval? Conversely, how do you think the world's most prestigious supercar brand would have changed Ford? You know, it's an interesting question, but we actually have some examples of what would have happened in the world. What's that?
Premier Auto Group.
Yeah, so later in the world, Ford bought Aston Martin. And later in the world, Chrysler bought Lamborghini. And what happened in both cases was they sold them quick. And I think that probably would have happened with Ford and Ferrari as well. I think they would have found it very difficult to own a brand that was half a world away in terms of time zones in an era before the internet and before ease of synergies in parts sharing and construction. I think it would have been hard. And I think, honestly, not much great would have come from it. My guess is Ford would have tried to make a couple of more volume-oriented Ferrari models. It wouldn't have gone all that well. And then they probably would have sold the company either at a small loss or a small gain, which is precisely what happened with Lamborghini and Chrysler and precisely what happened with Ford and Aston Martin. I don't think they would still own them. I don't think they would have owned them for very long. Honestly, Maserati and Ferrari is also kind of an example of this because FCA owned both brands. They did take Ferraris and turn them into Maseratis, and in a way, it was some part sharing, some engine sharing, etc. But it was never like this huge thing. Ferrari's back as its own company once again. Same kind of situation. That's my guess of what would happen. I don't think it's a great what if, honestly.
I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. That's exactly how I feel about it. Instead, it went to Fiat, and You know, we got the that era of cars. They did, because they kind of did that. They did start mass producing cars. Like the Dino engine was shared with the Fiat Spyder, and then of course the 308 series came out.
Relative to how they had been made before. And honestly, I think a lot of Ferrari enthusiasts would argue that it was a good era and very beneficial for the company. Yes. I'm not sure Ford would have done it. I think someone needed to do it in order to take Ferrari to the next level, and it was so done. And probably Ford would have had some of that effect on Ferrari anyway, like Fiat did.
Yep. True. The other interesting thing in that hypothetical, though, is not just there's no internet in different time zones. Culturally, that couldn't have been different, right? Like Ford was run a little bit at that era by suits and thinking of the business case, and like Ferrari was very much race on Sunday, and like the cars were sort of an afterthought.
Totally. That's a good point. It would have been interesting. Not a lot of cross-national things had happened by then. This was the 60s. Daimler Chrysler was 30 years away. You know, these giant global mergers, you know, were still a long ways off. It certainly would have been among the earlier examples of such a thing. Ford and Volvo and GM and Saab and all that came a lot later when, you know, M&A became like kind of a bigger thing in that industry. And it's all gone away now, by the way. The brands have all kind of stopped doing that. But it would have been a weird cultural shift for sure. I'm curious how they would have handled it. But my guess is not long, not much in terms of results, and it would have been a private company. It's, again, not that long later.
Right. Instead, they went back to their ugly factory building their ugly cars, and 2 years later beat Ferrari at Le Mans. So, you know, it's a great story. It's a wonderful story.
Yep, and we have the Ford GT heritage as a result.
Well, that came much later. Actually, it wasn't 2 years. But anyway, you get the idea.
I appreciate everybody watching. Nick, you got any final thoughts for us? Why don't you throw something out for us?
Ooh. You know, you ask me this every time, and you'd think I'd prepare something in advance.
But that's Nick.
Absolutely did not.
He's Googling instead. Kennan, you got any final thoughts for us?
Yes, unfortunately, I will not be here next week. I'm going back to Ohio for some family matters.
None of us
will. But yes, it will be an interesting podcast next week.
We may not have a podcast next week. I've been trying to convince Sean to cancel next week's podcast, so we'll see. That's my grand dream for us. But we'll see. I
was told remote podcast next week, in which case I will be dialing in from the great state of Wyoming.
I'm sure the internet connection will be wonderful out there. It'll be.
We got Starlink.
Okay. Nick, Wyoming was the first state to give women the right to vote.
Did not know that.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching our podcast. We really appreciate it. Absolute pleasure.
Goodbye.